Like at first, I think that first of that came, I I watched a TV documentary about Lorina. This is the village in Chukotka, and when I watched it, I understood that I should shoot there something. I don't know, but this place is so fantastic that I got loved in it. I felt love in this place, and I had no story. And like I think few years I spent thinking what story could work there. Like I understood that I don't want to shoot some kind of ethnic film or the story that is about traditional whale hunting or something like that. And few years after, I thought about some story, falling in love with a webcam model, and like I understood that this could be the place, because internet came to this village very like not far time ago, and for teenagers, for kids, it's such a important event. It's maybe one of main things that is happening in the village, that the boys have a chance to look at the girls that are living so far away, and for them it become not only a fun thing but a main main romantic time just. And after that, like a few years I spent on writing a script. I didn't know what was special local things in Chukotka because I never been there. It was like my personal feelings about it, and I tried to speak about my childhood. Even I wasn't in such remote places, but I think this is universal feelings of teenager, of being lonely and being sad and trying to find your own place, and all that feelings of first love. it it like connects everybody, and I think that's why you can understand this character, because like we all understand about what the film is. So the story is not about Russia, Chukotka or something like that. And for me, the place wasn't. It wasn't. I didn't think that it is looking like Russia. It is looking for me like a special place, and that's why it's not the part of local Russian things. It's like the story that could be clear to everybody. We were allowed to shoot real hunt, like one guy with a camera, and all the scenes are documentaries. So for me was a big challenge, because it is very powerful and very cruel thing. It is the real way of life, but I never thought that it would be so much emotions for me. And I think I have never seen something like that. It is so much powerful. Uh, the way people live, and they depend on food, and they are against this great creature. And the whale is so beautiful, and it is so unique animal. We don't know about it so many facts about the way how he communicates with other whales, this whale singing. It is so beautiful. It is like a great, beautiful alien. And the fact is that people are hunting, and all on the same way for Chukchis, whale are sacred beast. It is like the holy spirit, and they lived in connection with nature, and the whale for them is food, and on the same way it is for them a main friend who helped them to live how they think. Yeah, that spirits gave them whales, and they don't just kill them. Just it is for them. It is like a way of communicate with their gods as a traditional thing. But now, of course, it is modern times, and people are living far away from their traditional culture, and you can only feel what is inside with the people, and I think they feel a lot about hunting. It is very important for them. So it was for me very interesting just to make it a part of a film. But in the beginning, we had a lot of scenes. We shoot a lot of whale hunting, but on the end, I understood that it should be one small part of a film, and it should be more about the feeling of a character and not about just to show something interesting or exotic. Yeah. Everybody who who had only a synopsis or the idea of a film, everybody is saying, oh, this will be this hard film about the hard life of Russian people far north. It will be depressive, it will be heavy, but like I felt that it is a story of a first love. It couldn't be realistic, depressive, and because it's not the thing that I want to show, and it is much more easy for me to make a festival film about people are drinking, everything is bad in Russia, but we live in such places. But when you are a child, you don't see these colors. It is for them, for the boys, it is a great place. We don't want another place to live, because for them it is happiness. It is riding on a motorcycle and listening to the music and speaking about girls. And it is not I think it is the way how the character sees his own place. And of course, we had, a lot of chances to show another side of Chukotka, and but we didn't want, because I think its story is much more, for me, it's much more fairy tale than, the story of a hard Russian life. I want people to enjoy this place, not to think like, oh, this how this inhabitants of far north is living. I want to feel that these are your friends, but not like exotic Indians like living in hard decision, like hard conditions. It is very funny because uh, like when you're standing on this place, this island between there is a line that changes the date. Yeah, really. So in this part of Chukotka, there is 1 day, but if you will cross the line, it will be the day before. Yeah, and like when I just at first I wanted to show that they're speaking about this changing of date, but when this guy said Russia is the future, I said it's a strange thing, and like as I am trying to say that Russia is our future, but of course not. I like that it sounds strange. I like that everybody is asking why he's saying that, but it is real fact that the date changing. And at first I wanted that America will be future, because for the character this is the future. But this guy who performed the scene, he says, no, it's not true. There is a past. I say, okay. And I like that nobody understands what I'm saying, but maybe it is a new matter for a character, yeah? Because he is returning to his home and it is future for him. I think that your own place, we often are seeking happiness very far away, but it could be near. Yeah, and but we never feel this if we won't try to escape. Like it is a typical problem of teenager hating his own place and trying to run away. And I think that this is this is very natural to this character trying to escape, and it is very natural that he's feeling at the end happy that he is going back home. Where is his friends? Where is his family? and I think that is a part of our life. We are like, as I often think that I hate my country and I hate politician thing and I hate my president and I hate my government and I want to live in such a good place. But when I go to the other countries, I often understand that I want to go home. I don't know why. This is my country. I love it. I love my family. I love my friends, and I love the way this country is. I cannot. I hate and I love. It is the same. Like I never can explain myself how I find him because like it was, I think, mystical luck. Like because I never thought that I will find such a guy because I understood that I need to shoot a real guy, not actor. At first, the chance was very small. Like everybody said, "What? How you will find? It will be if you will find it one boy from 10,000 of boys could perform like that." But I don't know. But I found this guy and like two friends. They lived in the same place. It was orphanage house in another, the capital of Chukotka, and their origins were from small villages of Chukotka, and. When I spoke with these boys, I understood that they were very close to the characters. But of course, when I start to shoot, I understood that not the characters, but they are the characters, not my script. I forgot about my script because they were much more interesting that I could imagine. Like, and it was very hard to work with them, of course, because it is a very difficult way to work with teenagers but I tried and we tried, our team tried to find this way to communicate with them and I think we got friends at the end. Really, I felt that at the beginning I had a lot of references, and they didn't work at all. I just tried to shoot this film more, beautiful, more cinematographical. But the way it worked, it a very simple way of shooting. I can think that this is film about very naive guys, and I tried to shoot it like a very naive camera, So maybe things that reflected on me a lot is Werner Herzog films, and not only his films, but his thoughts and his ideas, because it was so hard to shoot this film that one day I decided that I need to ask for a help. And I went to the only place where internet was, and I connected Wi-Fi and downloaded the book of Werner Herzog and read how he survived shooting his very, very difficult films. But when I read it, I understood that he had so much more difficult process, and he was staying, and he was finding something interesting in it and something unique. And like I thought the same that not this is not difficult conditions. I think this is great conditions for the film that you don't understand what will happen next. I'm feeling that, when I dreamed like what will happen with my film, I felt asleep, and then I see some scenes from the festivals, and when I wake up and understand that nothing happens, I think that I'm now dreaming because like this quarantine time and nothing, there's no festivals, and the best future for the film is some VOD platforms, and that is now a real event and real screenings, and I see the people who are discussing the film. I think I never dreamed that will be such a thing. So I think that's great luck, and I'm trying not to think about it because it is so confusing thinking how I am lucky now today being here.